Alright, hi folks, Dane at Jonah Custom Guitars, and as I've mentioned several times, I'm doing a lot of repairs lately, more so than I have in years gone by. Done a lot I shouldn't say a lot, I've done a few neck resets. This is the first time I actually got to take apart a dovetail, and it's the way they should be put together because they come apart much easier. The others I've taken apart have been doweled and are quite difficult to take off. Some of them have been sawed off. Others have been jacked apart like a dovetail until they came apart to the point that I could see they were doweled. So every one of those has been a learning experience. Heading toward this one, and this one has been actually really nice. So I fiddled around with this. We talked about this just earlier this morning on a previous video, and I had glued the shims on, and so we're ready to get this all going back together. Everything's fitting perfectly. As you may or may not be able to see, I actually have sanded through these little veneers I put on in areas just because they just stayed where they were needed. And so got the face of that taped so I know the neck is lining up properly, and as soon as I get it in I'm going to peel those off so that I can clean the glue up. It took an hour to an hour and a half, somewhere. Kind of lost track of the time because I was in and out, but finessing this little joint in. And I actually, when I glued those shims on, they were quite a bit thicker than I needed, so I had to sand them down quite a bit. That took a while. So anyway, reposition this and glue this thing up. So it's actually almost takes longer to get the glue at the right temperature and all that good stuff. It's supposed to be between 140 and 145. And they say any hotter than that and you're likely to overcook it, and it weakens the joint, weakens the glue. So we don't want to do that, of course. So I've got my clamps kind of preset. Yeah, not really. They have to slide open enough to get them on the guitar. It's a pretty easy clamp up. You just put the neck in the joint as you apply pressure right here at the heel over the block, and then clamp behind the heel on the back of the body, which is also has a neck block in there to support the clamp. I'm going to put a pad under it so I don't inadvertently ding anything up with this clamp. So, ready to go. Just going to spread some glue in here and go for it. I'm just using an acid brush to use for putting flux on copper pipe when you solder it, and some people call them glue brushes because they get used for that a lot. Anyway, what I've done to heat my the hide glue up here is I've just taken it's in a jar. I just put a little pan on there and then shimmed up, rolled up some foil just to get the jar off the bottom of the pan so it doesn't get direct heat. They recommend indirect heat, and so it created kind of a double boiler situation. So you don't have the flame right on the jar, or well, it's an electric element. Don't have the heat right on the jar. Okay, I got the neck glued up. I got a little bit of this on my thumb. It's already tacky. Alright, top of the guitar is good, and the mortise, right up the sides of the mortise. This is still wet, just making sure. All right. Putting a bag out on the end of that to help add some weight. See the other end? I got a lot of leverage on this thing, and so I'm being careful not to overdo it. And the last reset I did, I Takamine 12 string, I actually did a shim underneath the fretboard between the body because the body had fallen off so much that you know, pulling the fretboard down to the body would have been extremely acute angle on the thing, pulling it down. This one, it was so far up, you remember from the earlier videos, it came off the neck and went so far up that having reset everything and corrected the geometry, now it's dipping down a tad, which is perfect on a guitar like this. You don't want, it's not an electric guitar kind of situation where you're going to play all the way up to the very top frets there. So, you know, having a bit of fall away on that extension is actually a good thing. And so that's how that's set up. And I'm going to get that tape out of the way. And then get a rag in there and wipe any glue. Little tape residue that will come off easily. Turn the burner off. I got a brace right across the top of the guitar here that's pretty, you know, it's high. It's way high above everything else. Lower than everything else as far as that goes. The way it's directed right now, it's lower than everything, but higher than anything else on the surface of the top. And so I'm just grabbing that brace to clamp the extension down. Everything looks good here. Got a little bit of a, looks like a little bit of a gap between the very front here and at the very end, so I'm going to try to move that clamp forward a bit. And it fits in between the brace and there's another brace right before that, but it's a little so further in and it's further around, but the way that clamp is designed, it clears it. Okay, good. Take some of this hot water out of the pan, clean the joint up here. Alright, so it's basically all prep work on this. Once you're where you need to be, the glue up is a pretty quick thing. And then we'll just do touch up, finish touch up right at the very edge where we did all the work here. Then also, well, I can't get to the bottom edge of that, so I'll probably have to do that later. I'm going to do the same thing on the bridge. Actually, I'm going to take some hot water because I have a little bit of tape that got stuck in the hide glue when I put the bridge down, and I peeled it back, but it didn't all come off. So I'm going to take some hot water around the back of the bridge and soften that glue up a little bit with the hot water and clean that tape out of there. Then I'll go around everywhere where there's a little finish marring from prying the thing apart, that sort of thing, and touch that stuff up. If there's any nice thing about working on a guitar this old, it's that it's so beat up that it's not like doing a brand new guitar where you had to mess with something and then the finish got chipped or something. Not saying I chipped anything, just saying that if that were to happen, it would be kind of it would blend in. So a little bit of minor finish touch up there is on this guy is it's going to be easy to take care of, and it's going to blend right in. All right, that's it. I'm just going to have to let that thing set up, and then I'm going to polish the frets on it, do that other stuff I talked about, little touch up things, clean it up really good, and then restring it and see where we're at. So once I get back around to restringing this thing, we'll do another little video and see how it turned out. Thanks for watching.